We are back on Morning Line. Nick Beres here with Holly Ladd, health and nutrition coach. It's nice to have you on.
Thank you.
It's always fun talking with her, just bouncing ideas off her. And we've got some calls. If you want to jump in, 737-7587. Brian waited through the break. Brian, good morning. How are you?
Hey, I talked to her last time about the water filter for your counter. She didn't mention any specific brand name because she probably doesn't want to,
giving it free advertisement for someone. Yeah.
But also, I did notice she did say the mass-produced yogurt, like Dannon and Yoplait, they're no good. But I get just the plain Publix yogurt. I used to get the stuff with blueberries in. You could tell they were fake. So I just get plain Publix yogurt, and then also orange juice. Somebody told me that orange juice has naturally occurring sugar in it. I told them, yeah, but that's not the kind of sugar that you eat. That's good. It's called ascorbic acid, and that's good for you. And I got my new metal container that she said I should get, and it said on the metal container, it said no PBAs. And then now all we need is, I think, a Brita water filter.
Cool.
Oh, that's great. Good for you, man. And you know what he's saying about the yogurt, I do the same thing he does. Now, I will buy some of these store brands, and there's different kinds, and there's some good ones I like there. You can also go get natural, organic ones from places as well, but it's frankly convenient. But you can get the plain one like he does, and then you can add, like you do, add your blueberries if you want to add your peaches or something like that, right?
Absolutely. Strawberries and yogurt and a little honey, like you said, a little raw natural honey.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Now, what was he talking about again, the cylinder that is something...
The stainless steel? Or his water filter?
Was that what he was talking about?
Yeah, I think at the beginning, and I do remember when Brian called last time, he was talking about getting a whole house water filtration system, which I think is a great idea here in Nashville in particular, because there's a lot of chlorine in our water. Chlorine is not something that we really want to ingest all the time because those bacteria we were talking about
hurts that.
Hurts that.
Okay.
So yeah, not brand specific, but if you can afford it and you can get a whole house water filtration system, awesome.
All right. Next
step is if you can get just an under sink in your kitchen water filtration system so that your tap water and your drinking water, is good.
That's where you use most of your water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or he said Brita water filter, which is just that that pitcher on the countertop that just you pour the water through and it goes through the filter.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that would be another option. So great, and he's gotten his stainless steel water container. Awesome. So he's avoiding toxins in the plastic. So
that's it. We talked about that before, and I continue to still drink. But my biggest thing is I want to stop doing it, and I need to make that transition because I worry about the plastic bottles going into landfills. And I know you also say that if a water bottle, like I buy Perrier. I go to Costco, and I will buy a crate of Perrier. We have a separate fridge in our garage, and I load it up. And I like the bubbly stuff. It's good, and I drink, because I do drink much more water than I ordinarily would. It's at my fingertips, it's convenient, it's easy. But I know that in some cases you worry that there can be compounds that leach out of plastics, unlike the metal that he bought. So I just haven't gotten to that transition yet, and I guess I should, but I mean, I drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
And I don't drink tap water very often. I drink bottled water.
The fizzy one.
Yeah, it's usually fizzy. It's either Pellegrini or Perrier or some of those other fruity waters.
So you can find it in glass bottles.
Yeah.
If you can find it in glass, it's heavier to carry a case.
It's heavier, and
better work out.
You don't find as many of them. Yeah, there is glass. Yeah, right. Glass bottles. It's more rare. It's really hard to find that. I guess you could make your own Perrier. You can get those soda maker things where you have the. What do you think of that? The carbonation is just CO2, isn't it? Usually.
I mean, well, the thing about I think the Perriers and the San Pellegrinos is sort of like a natural. There are more minerals in it. Like if you're just going to take your tap water, but
I'm not drinking it for nutrition, really.
Right.
I mean, I just don't want it to hurt me.
You just like the bubbles.
Right, and to hydrate me, but I'm not drinking it to get nutrition. But again, I don't want it to hurt me. What are the concerns? What are the things that can leach from certain plastics?
Well, the big one is BPA.
Okay.
And then there's also now BPS, which is what they put in place of BPA. And those two are hormone disruptors, endocrine disruptors. They can cause you to gain weight. They can trigger cancers of some sort, especially breast cancer and prostate cancer. So the BPA is really, and in fact, in some countries that are banning BPA, like no bueno,
Can't they just make bottles without BPA?
Well, then they put in the BPS. I mean,
what is it? A binder or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it makes it shape and
There
hold the
obviously
shape,
is a
and
purpose
there's a
for it,
reason.
or they wouldn't be using it.
Yeah.
But
so I mean, in fact, what was I buying the other day and noticed? Oh, spices. I bought some more spices for the kitchen, and I was like, it's like retro. It's a glass jar with a metal lid.
You don't see those often.
Remember?
That's great. Yes.
That's how our jars used to be, and then we went to plastic.
Yes.
And now they've gone back to sort of the retro glass.
Which
and metal.
glass, I mean, is probably, I don't know if it's more expensive to manufacture or make or whatever. You don't see as many of those. I'd love it if they went back to that.
And it's heavier to transport, so there's the weight factor and everything that. But we've become such a plastic. Everything's plastic, and my thing is avoid as much plastic as you can.
All right, let's go to Grady. Grady, good morning. Hi, Grady.
Good morning, Nick. How is whatever you're eating there? Sure doing good. Especially over your looks there. Mother was a firm believer in honey and vinegar would cure anything that's probably wrong with you. Of course, Nick said my chicken and dumplings. I got to ask you, would that be health food or what would that be? But, brains and eggs, Sandy and I tried to get Nick to eat brains a long time ago.
Yeah.
I love them. But, being in the hospital since September off and on, they've had me on a heart-healthy diet, and you couldn't get biscuits and gravy. And, I told my heart doctor, I said, I eat salsa at home, and you got me on a heart health. I ain't got to listen to your comments. I'm eating this wrong.
I'm sorry about the connection there, but that's Grady. He goes back with me for years, and his voice sounds strong. He was 4 packs a day.
Wow.
He smoked 4 packs a day. He made unbelievable buttery chicken and dumplings, okay? And that probably doesn't qualify as health food, but it's yummy as can be. He sounds really good, and I know he's given up smoking.
Good.
And then as far as eating a healthy diet, heart healthy for him, I can imagine that had to be turning his entire dietary habits upside down.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're eating fried chicken and chicken gravy, and
he was in the hospital for bypass surgery.
Wow.
Is what it was.
Wow.
So after the fact, I mean, they probably have him eating, I guess for him, he said his mother, vinegar and honey. He talked about that. What about that? The two of them?
Well, apple cider vinegar is fermented.
Right.
So again, you've got that fermentation thing going, and natural, local, raw honey has amazing qualities. Whether it's a cure-all, maybe not. But I know people that when they get that scratchy throat and they think they're getting a cold, take some garlic, some honey, and a little ACV apple cider vinegar, and the cold goes away. So
right. Well, you just said there sounds like a perfect tonic for a sore throat.
Yeah.
That just sounds. It's true that the unpasteurized honey or whatever, the natural stuff that you buy, because a lot of the honey actually is manufactured in these huge honey farms, many of them out of the country, and just to transport it and stuff, it gets heat pasteurized.
Yeah.
And it still tastes great and it's not bad for you, but it loses so much of its nutritional value. I mean, the honey that comes out of my hives, some of that, I mean, they have naturally occurring antibiotics in there, and I've actually scratched myself sometimes on a berry bush or something. I'll just put a little honey on there.
Yes, I've heard of that too.
I literally will put honey on my wound.
Yep.
And it actually serves to clean it.
Yeah, I've heard of that too. I've heard of putting it on a burn, on any sort of skin thing. Yeah.
Right, and it will soothe your throat. I mean, what'd you say? A little bit of garlic?
Garlic, honey, and apple cider vinegar, and some people even put a little cayenne pepper in there.
Yeah, and we should, the pepper part of it. All right, listen, we'll take a break on that note. Questions and comments, if you have any tonics you want to share with us, I'm always all ears for the natural tonics. And I want to ask her about just an absolutely awful vegetarian sausage I had the other day. Some of that stuff just tastes like crap. All right, the number 737-7587. We'll be back with more of your calls right after this.
This is a Storm 5 HD weather update.